the gentleman in the second row, and also the gentleman on that side with the pillar. Can we have a third? Okay, so we have 3. Please go ahead.
Hello, good evening. I'm Ishan Jalil. I'm from Action Against Apathy. I have a very brief remark and a question. The remark is regarding Mr. Manohar De Silva's presentation about his view on the 19th Amendment. Even though I agree to disagree with you, sir, of course you made a very clear case for the defeated Rajapaksa family. And but then again, my question is actually at say for instance, before I ask the question, specifically was talking about the 3 disqualifications for someone to be the president. And I would actually be happy that there are such measures which have been taken to disqualify certain persons, rather than ending up as a country being disqualified in the international community as a pariah state. So, having said that, my question is actually aimed at Dr. Jayanpathy Wickramaratne on the composition of the Constitutional Council. Initially, there was this talk that there should be more civil society representation in the Constitutional Council, but due to political wranglings, it ended up being a predominantly parliamentary-based Constitutional Council where civil society only, please correct me if I'm wrong, only gets 3 seats in the Constitutional Council. So what is your opinion on the agreed composition of the Constitutional Council, and in a new constitution, if there is a new constitution adopted by the next parliament, or if there are any other amendments which would be coming up, what is your opinion about the Constitutional Council, because that would be the body which will ultimately set up the independent commissions. So I would like to know your opinion on it. Thank you.
If we can also take the other 2 questions at the same time.
All the speakers referred to the reduction of the powers of the president, and I think one referred to the abolition of the presidency. If I remember right, it was Reverend Sobiter who came forward as a woman candidate, and what he proposed was the removal of the presidential system itself and the reintroduction of the Westminster system that we had been used to from 1833 in this country. Now, he was hijacked halfway and ended up in hospital. And finally, we didn't get what he promised. The second matter that I want to refer to is really what Rohan has been pressing, the question of discussion. I agree that there has been no discussion on this subject at all except in Parliament. As soon as the proposal came forward, the 19th Amendment, I think I tried to get a copy, but it was not available. It was a more secret document, but somebody had hijacked it and it was published. I tried to get the BSL to hold a seminar on the 19th Amendment. Just couldn't get it moving. Then 19th Amendment was passed. At that stage I said, okay, let's have a seminar on constitutional reform. Even that was not done. So I don't know whether we can ever have public discussion that Rohan proposed. The other matter is the question raised by Mano. I agree with him 100% that the question of ethnicity, caste, religion has surfaced once again as in after 1956, 57, 77, and I genuinely fear a bloodbath coming.
Thank you for for your observations. The third person, yes, please go ahead.
This is literally first. I had actually 4 questions. Since you asked me to limit it to 3, I was limited to 3. My first question is now.
Sorry, sir. What I meant was 1 question per person, but if we have time, we can take another question. So if you can prioritize your most important question, please.
But it's all into one. I just try to.
Sure. Okay.
Now, one is about the dual citizenship. Really, it's an addendum to Article 91(4) of the present Constitution. Article 91(4) speaks of the eligibility of a parliamentarian, member of parliament. But about the president, can he be a dual citizenship? Nothing mentioned. I don't see anything there. Now I'll go ahead. Then, coming to section, in the original bill, section 33(1) and 33(2)(b) speaks about president shall be the symbol of national unity and president to ensure and facilitate preservation of religious and ethnic harmony. But in the final bill, what was gazetted, these 2 paras are not, I didn't see. The original bill, gazetted on March 15, 33(1) and 33(2)(b. It says to president shall be the symbol of national unity and president is on the top, to ensure and facilitate preservation of religious and ethnic harmony. But it is not there in the final draft as I see. I have not seen the signed one, but in the final bill that was gazetted again, these 2 clauses are removed. Was it from the decision of the Supreme Court or for some other reason? A brief, my other point is, now you have this 19th Amendment tried to bring an independent, particularly public commission. But half of the public servants are coming under the provincial councils. But as far as the provincial public service is concerned, still the Provincial Council Act clearly says that appointment, transfer, disciplinary order, everything is with the governor. So the talking of independent public service doesn't make any sense because half of the public servants are under the provincial government. So could you please elaborate? Thank you.
Sorry. On the first question about the composition of the Constitutional Council, that is the first question that was raised.
On the composition of the Constitutional Council, yes. The bill that was okayed by the Supreme Court has provisions relating to the composition. Supreme Court had no problem with that. There were to be 3 members of Parliament, the Speaker, Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition. And the others were to be people who are not members of any political party but not MPs. So that 3:7 ratio was reversed because the government did not have a 2/3 majority and there were members of the opposition, some members at least, who insisted that the majority of the members of the Constitutional Council, not a mere majority, but 7-3, they insisted on a 7-3 instead of a 3:7 ratio, 7-3 ratio. So government reluctantly had to give in to that. So the Horace's question on all the president's qualifications. It's Article 92 which deals with the qualifications of the president to be the president. He should be qualified to be a member of parliament under certain paragraphs. That's how these others come. That national unity, relation to national unity as a symbol of national unity, that was dropped consequent to the decision of the Supreme Court. I think the Attorney General in court agreed that that should go. Part of it I think the Supreme Court struck down. Not struck down, but I think they recommended as a symbol of national unity. There was this question of national flag as a national symbol of national unity, and so anyway that was not of much consequence that the government decided to drop that. Provincial Public Service Commission, I am in complete agreement with you that you should have a similar mechanism in the provinces also. Now it's with the governor. powers over with the governor. I think this similar process, similar mechanism must be replicated in the 47 complete agreement.
We have about 5 minutes remaining. Does anyone have? Okay, so is there anyone else who needs to ask a question or clarification, make a comment?
What are your ideas regarding district bonus and the 5% cut-off votes in the present PR system?
Would you like to address that? And also, Mr. De Silva, do you have anything to add? First, maybe Rohan could send in.
I'm sure the different panelists will have different views on that, but basically, I would favor the introduction of a mixed system that is widely practiced around the world in Germany, New Zealand, and Scotland, where you have about half the parliament elected on the basis of first past the post. So you have your constituency MPs, and then you have a PR list which must be closed, where the rank order is determined before the election, so that the voters know, well, if the SLFP is going to get 10 to 12 seats on PR, these are the people who will be elected. It should not be left to the parties to choose anyone from the list. And also, then, when you have what is called a closed list, you can have requirements that there should be increased representation for women, etc. on the list. It helps to promote inclusion as well. And you can have 2 ballot papers. I remember when this was discussed in 1994, Chandrananda De Silva, who was the then Commissioner of Elections, actually welcomed it, saying that it would be easy for the voter to understand and easy for the elections department to administer, because the votes could be counted separately. So, in other words, every voter will know that he or she can vote for the constituency MP of his or her choice and have a separate vote for the party of his or her choice. So, if you have a system like that, you can have it on the basis of provinces or national. You don't need to have a district-based list. And I think that this is something that really should be taken seriously. There's a sort of tendency. Lots of the people who are advising the Commission on Elections have said, well, you can't have 2 ballot papers. It will be too complicated. I actually think that will be far less complicated if you have 2 ballot papers rather than 1. So there's a lot of interest in the various options. I would favor the one that both the PA and the UNP committed to at the 1994 election, a mixed system based on the German mixed system.
On the issue of the bonus seat, the argument for the I don't subscribe to that argument, but the argument mainly by the bigger political parties is that there must be stability, and therefore the bonus seats is to ensure that the winning party, the party that finally wins gets the overall majority, also gets the bonus seats, and therefore they think that argument that would lead to stability. As regards the 5% cut-off point, I'm totally against that. I can give you 2 instances. 1989, the United Socialist Alliance qualified to have got enough votes. They qualified to get 1 member of parliament in the Gold district, but they were short of some 42 votes. They wanted the 5% by 42 votes. And Mr. Dinesh Gunawardena couldn't get into parliament in 1994 because of that, because his party got enough votes for 1, or maybe Dinesh 2, right? At least 1 in the Colombo district, and they may have even got a nationalist seat, probably 2 or 3, right? At least 2 they could have got. Whereas some other parties got less votes on this, what you call this, the largest remainder. The largest remainder. So best thing is to have a natural cut-off point in all PR elections. I think best thing is to have a natural cut-off point, which may be, that would depend on the district. The number will be like in Colombo it will be much less than 5%. So why deny a party, or any party for that matter, why deny any party representation, although they qualify for a seat, they are under particular pressure.
So this is where we have
I just want to give an answer to that question that was asked whether the president also will be disqualified if you are a dual citizen. The section 90, article 92 says that if you are disqualified to be a member of parliament, that's a disqualification to a president as well. That's the answer.
Okay, I think it's 5 o'clock now, and so we will wind up. We've been in your seats for well over 1.5 hours now. So I would just like to thank our 3 panelists who essentially generously, shared their knowledge with us on a voluntary basis, and for coming here and spending time talking to us about these critical issues. The second thing is to also thank you all for coming and for your interest in constitutional issues that inform the broader governance framework of this country. We will be putting together sort of the key points from this panel discussion as well as the questions that were asked, and we will circulate it to the participants list as well as put it on our website. Thank you all for coming.